Have you ever been curious of when it really is the best time to start your vegetable garden? In today's video, I'm going to show you exactly when the best time to start your vegetable garden is. Hi, this is Jeremy Stark here from Green Thumb Garden, here to give you some tips, tutorials, and reviews for all your gardening needs. In today's video, we're going to go over some very simple question that a lot of people may have if you're just starting out gardening, or if you moved into a new area, you might not be certain as well. But really, one of the questions that you want to definitely address before you start a garden is, when do you actually start planting it? So there's not really one particular answer that I can give everybody. So I'm going to show you how to find out for you where your particular area is and what type of vegetables that you want to grow. But before you get started, if you could please give us a green thumbs up if this video is good for you, if you find it helpful. That really helps us. Also, if you could hit the subscribe button down below. That way there you get notified of any new videos that we may have. So in this particular video, we do have a chart that you can take a look at that's specific to to where your zone is. All right, let's get started right into it. So one of the things that you have to be aware of when you're starting out a garden is basically where you're going to plant when you're going to plant the vegetables. So it really comes down to a couple of different things. The first is what type of vegetables that you're going to have. So there's different types that grow in cooler season, and then there's some that grow in the warmer season. That's kind of generally how you can break things up. Because you can have early spring and fall could be the same type of vegetables as cool weather, and then you got kind of your summer vegetables like tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers. Those things require some a good amount of heat. So really figuring out that is what is the first question, is what you're going to plant. So if you're planting the cool season vegetables, you want to make sure that you have the list of the ones that you want to have, so you can take a look and see what's area. The next thing you want to know is, where exactly do you live? Now I'm really doing this for the United States, but you can still figure this out if you do live in other parts of the world by looking up your zone. So basically what a zone chart is that it tells you where you are in the map. So for instance, I live in North Carolina, and North Carolina it is split up into a couple different zones in there. I think there's three different zones. And really what that is that's tracking the kind of the first and the last frost dates. So those are the dates that you could potentially have frost in your area. And those are the averages. So they're not the exact, so the date that you might see on there, it might not be the exact date that you get a frost, but it's based on the averages, and they take it over so many years and they compile it. And that's really how they come up with the date. Now that doesn't mean that if you plant after that date, if you plant before that date or even after it, that it could potentially frost. So just be aware of that when you're kind of in that beginning period of that time. There could be potential for some frost. So one of the things I always say is I do take a conservative approach when it comes to that. I plant a little bit later. I'm not out there, even though I love to garden, I'm not out there right at the day that it's my average time, because what happens is, like I said, you could have a potential freeze, and then you'd have to cover everything up. So really, those are the two things that you want to make sure that you're aware of beforehand. So if you're planting the summer vegetables, the ones that heat, you want to look at the earliest time to plant for your particular area. And then what you can do is, on the seed packet, or if you're, if you pick this up from a particular store, they usually tell you how long it takes to grow. So as long as you have enough weeks for it to mature fully before the last frost date, then you can plant it in there. So most tomatoes and peppers, they have about, somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks where you want to plant them. And then after that, it can still grow more and things. So you can kind of do a consecutive planting. So, and then for the spring vegetables, you do want to know how long before it gets too hot, because some vegetables don't like the heat. So you kind of want to work backwards of when generally it gets warmer in your area, and kind of work backwards and see where you can actually plant it. So those are really the two main keys that you want to be aware of when you're just planting a garden. is, to summarize again, it's just, what type of vegetable, and then also what zone you're in. So the chart right here that you can see, it does break it down. So you can look by the colors, and it's going to give you the first and then the last frost date, and it's also going to give you the kind of where you are. Now, in the article that I wrote in here, you can see it right in the description. I'll also put a link up here as well. If you go there, it's going to give you a little bit more detail about, if you want to put in your information, and it kind of breaks it down by each zone so that you know what to look for. But you can also look it up and see exactly by your zip code where you fall in there. But generally, the map that you can see here is going to give you the best kind of estimate of when you can figure that out. And then you just work backwards or forward from wherever your vegetables, how long they grow and how long they take to mature, so that you can kind of figure out, with that. And if you're dairying, you can plant it right at the start. You can even plant it a week or two before. But you just have to be aware that you might have to, the plants are still growing, so you can use some kind of cloche or some kind of little greenhouse thing to get over that frost period. Usually it's in that thing. The other thing you also want to consider is that everybody has sort of a microclimate. You could potentially have a microclimate in the area. So even though it might be, where you are, where your garden is set, it could be a lot cooler, because it might be, maybe it's going down and it slopes, so all the cold air drops down there. So just be aware of all that stuff before you do it. Hopefully this has helped you out. If you could, please give us a green thumbs up. Let us know that we're making great videos for you. And if you could, hit the subscribe button down below. That way there you get notified of any new videos that we do have. And again, we have a website called gardenerthumb.com. You can look for the link down in the show notes, and that will give you all the details of this. Well, hopefully I helped you out, and I'll see you in the next video.